Want to get started? We'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
None.
Okay. Consideration of the minutes from our last meeting on June 26th.
Madam Chairperson, they should be included in your packet, and barring any errors or omission, I would recommend approval as written.
Motion to approve is written.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. All right. Now we have our public comment period. I don't see anybody here, but if anybody on the board or has anything to say, okay. So, which is good because it's getting dark soon.
Right.
We want to get out for a special presentation about the outdoor education program.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if we're going to head out there.
Yep. Ms. Marvin was just checking to see if Gil was in the building or already out there, so as soon as she comes back, we can rock right now.
Okay.
Simon would like everyone to know that he's very happy that basketball is back in
Okay.
the morning.
Okay, we're glad.
Yes, so is he. He's a very happy camper. Although I haven't talked to him today, which was day
I was gonna say, you
one.
know he's with my kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing Simon asked me when he came in the door the first day of school.
Oh, how funny.
Do you like basketball?
That's awesome.
Well, he said, "Mom, do you think they could do this?" I said, "Well, why don't you ask?" So then he said, "I asked, so they're gonna think about it." I said, "Look at that. You ask."
You got
And it
results. It's amazing how that could work. We're just waiting to find out. We have a presentation on the outdoor education space, so we're just waiting to figure out if we're meeting him out there or if he's coming here first. So.
Unless you had a comment, we missed that.
Okay.
You want me to go over the fuel bids while we wait?
Yeah, we might as well.
You should have those included in your packet. The reason we include them pretty much every year is so that you can see how we rate. It actually went a lot better than I thought it would. Propane was about 30 cents more than last year, which is really good in today's economy. The diesel last year was at about $2.70, so $1.20 more, which again was really good for us compared to $5.19 at the pump. We're getting it for $3.91 minus 31 cents of state, so it'll be $3.60. And then the fuel oil, which actually doesn't impact you, but here we bid Airline, Dedham, Orrington schools together, but then the municipalities of Orrington and Dedham as well, which is where we can get all of that. And that was at the $3.65, which is about the same as diesel, about $1.30 more. So we did very well compared to the actual pump prices.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, let's head out. Yep, let's head
Okay.
out. Yep. Thank you. You can join us if you want. So you can say right.
Like, seriously. She was like, "Mom, you were right, Mr. Brandon, awesome."
You one back over there, and then there's the swinging log over there. So this site up here is, we'll get here like a little bit further on as we move along through the stuff. Is anybody familiar with Mr. Savage and Mark, what he does over in Brewer? So he's come to help me quite a bit with this stuff, getting all of this set up. He came in with his skidder, helped me haul all this stuff out, get things set up to get things going. Just kind of jumping in on this. So this, like right here, is sort of the beginning of working with the kids. Play games with them, try to get things set up so that they're used to working with each other. I just ran up the hill. So they're used to. Yeah, I'm fine. So they're used to working with each other. Working on soft skills is the big thing. So in the beginning, we're going to be playing a lot of games out on the field, in the classroom and such, and then eventually we move down to working on these types of things. But it's working on those soft skills like work ethic, working as a team, growth mindset, taking criticism or feedback from others. All those soft skills are the things that we're going to be working on. So instead of in the classroom listening to the teacher give a lesson and they're working on math, some kids may be struggling with math, so they're not really thinking about those soft skills. They're more worried about can they get the answer right, or can they get someone to help them with this, or that's what they're more concentrated on. So here, they just have to concentrate on each other and those interpersonal skills. They don't have to worry about all that other stuff while they're down here working on stuff with me. So this right here is a couple of the elements, but if we walk down the hill, you'll see some of the other ones in the outdoor classroom that I started to.
Okay. We're headed back.
All right. Careful, the roots will come out. Yeah. Nope, yeah, this is all very new. About a month and a half ago, this is nothing more than this group. Yeah. I was over there
All you gotta do over there is have Tim Pearson send out a message and you've got Well, I know.
So much more difficult here. This used to be all farmland through here. So this was really easy to work with. We got the skidder in here. There's a lot of dead trees we got to take out, but at least here we can move around easily. Over there, everything's just so steep. Getting down in and stuff. Here's a couple of the other sites I built. This one right here, it's all aboard. So this is very similar to what Mark has over in Brewer. So if anybody's gone and done that, it's basically the whole class has to get up on that. You have to figure out how to do that working together.
We're doing this as a staff.
What's that?
Start thinking now.
Do we want to try it now? Everybody try to get up there,
yes.
figure it out. So that's part of it too. Is they have to like figure this stuff out together as a group. You know, working together. And of course, arguments will break out while they're doing it. So I'm just sitting back and waiting and watching. As long as it doesn't get to fisticuffs, I let them, go at their own. And then I tell them that they have their own devices that they have to rely on, and then after that we talk about it. We debrief and talk about it, kind of work on how they could improve their communication, working with each other, who had a good idea that maybe they didn't listen to, somebody take over that probably shouldn't have been taking over, should somebody spoken up that should have spoken up. So afterwards is the big time to talk about the stuff. So that's one of the elements too that I built. And then down here is like the last little area. Watch a couple more areas down here. So this area right here, and I'll go, that's the last spot right there, I'll get there in just a second. This is called the Mohawk Iron Walk. This pays homage to the Mohawks from history. I always go through with the kids, I ask them, what's a Mohawk? They say, oh, the hairstyle. And I ask them where does that come from, and then I give them the whole story of explaining about Mohawks and how they had no fear of heights. And they're the integral part in building a lot of our skyscrapers in the big cities, in Philadelphia and New York City and Chicago and all those areas, because they just didn't recognize heights. They just kept it out of their mind. I never really looked up something that I'm going to is why they actually did that. Is it part of their, it's definitely some part of their culture. It's not necessarily a nature type thing. It's more of a nurture thing, I think. But this pays homage to them. The kids have to maneuver from one end all the way to the other, and they have to work as a team. Anybody falls off, they all start over. So this is something that definitely probably causes a couple of fights, I'm sure, in the group, and they can work through it. And it's not necessarily something that they'll accomplish. So they have to kind of understand that not everything you're going to accomplish the first time. They may not even be able to get this, and we'll come back at it in the springtime. Maybe after a few months or almost this whole school year, that they'll have the ability, not physically necessarily, but the ability to work as a group to get everybody to the end. So starting over here starts easy, and you can see it gets harder as it comes back around to this area here. So this is probably the last one we'll do. This will probably be towards the end of November or so before we actually get to this one right here, because everything is kind of slow and builds up. And the last spot right here, not that far to go this time. This is the outdoor classroom space that we cleared out. So all those wood chips that need to come down, all these other spots, but also right in here, we're going to fill in this whole area with wood chips. This is where we'll do different activities that we bring in this stuff. So all that's fixed. This will be the non-fixed type of activities in here, where we bring in like trolleys. It's the big, huge 2x4s with the ropes. They all have to walk together and work together. All the different stuff that we can bring in, we'll do here, and also lessons before the leaves start changing. I'm going to be spending a couple weeks teaching them like the difference between trees, how to tell different tree species. So that's something we'll come down here and do. Instead of sitting in the classroom and looking at pictures, we'll come down here, talk about it, and then they're going to go explore and find the leaves. And that's, you know, how they're going to learn about it, kind of tell the difference between the different ones. So this is where we'll have those lessons. I left a couple of the trees in here because in the springtime we're going to do a whole unit on like slack lining. So I'd like to teach them how to do that. By no means a great slack liner. Did a little bit in college, just kind of learned how to balance. Could go about 3 seconds is about my limit. But this is something different for everybody. You know, some kids sit there in class and they're bored all day. They don't want to do the work, but this hopefully will get them so they're excited to come into school to do something, and then they'll spend the time. Oh, it's a dog. I thought there was a deer back there for a second. So we'll give them something that they're excited for, you know, something that's different. And also, by the time they get to middle school, a lot of kids, they've decided if they want to be in sports. You know, this is something different. If they want to be in sports, they're playing basketball, they're doing those different things. This is something Tim Pearson was explaining to me that made a lot of sense. This is something they get to do that's outside of normal for them. Okay, in regular gym class, they're playing basketball and all those different things, but they also are on the teams or they're not on the teams. They made that decision. This gives something else for some of those kids that want to be active, but they don't want to play basketball. They don't want to do those other types of things. They want to do something active and outside. This gives them something they can do. All right, any questions? No?
Piles, but we're going to learn as
Okay.
we go along with you.
Now I'm learning too as I go along with this. I have like a million lessons that I have like in my mind because once it gets cold, one of the lessons I'm going to do is like knot tying with them. So that way we just bring in ropes and teach them how to tie knots. But then also I've talked to Jordan about this, Mr. C, that if we get good snow, I want to try to get some snowshoes and some cross-country skis. Maine winter, you never know. We could have like 2 weeks of really good snow to come out and do this. So therefore, in gym class, in my class, we want to just get out as much as we can, because then the rest of the winter could be just a bunch of frozen mud out here, and we'll have different activities we have to do. So when the winter time comes around, it's going to be a little more loosey-goosey about the lessons, just because we'll be playing the weather. We'll go by whatever the weather tells us, you know, it wants us to do. So we may not even be able to put snowshoes on this winter, or maybe we'll have 6 weeks straight where middle schoolers are going to be bringing in, you know, snow gear every day. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that.
And you're going to be tying a lot of your lessons into main studies as well.
Yep,
That's what
we're
I'm
also doing with main studies too. Yeah, I'm helping out with the main studies, and we're going to be doing a lot with that too. Yeah, we're going to be spending a whole unit on how to roll a sleeping bag. So they're going to come in and learn how to do that correctly.
So you have classes for 1 hour,
Hour and a half here.
hour
Yep.
and a half?
And over in Dedham, I have them for twice for an hour. So it's making it a little complicated for me to figure out how to time things right. And also, I don't know if any of you know Tim over there. He does a lot of this stuff already. So I want to do a unit on how to build fires in the middle of winter time. Not going to be in the school, be out here. But how to build a fire, but he already does that. He's like, I really like this unit, so I'd want to keep it. So I'm like trying to think, I want the Orrington kids to be able to do it, so what am I going to do with that? So there's a lot of crossover that I'm trying to figure out as we go through this. How to get those kids to what they need, and also the kids here what they need, and still not double up too much.
You're going to do some medical stuff.
Yeah,
You're
playing
gonna bring
also,
on your
we're going to
nurse
do, I used to be a wilderness EMT. The license passed a long time ago, but I still have all the training, remember it. So I'm going to do a lot of wilderness first aid with them, talk about that, what to do in emergencies and those kinds of things. I'm not expecting them to actually solve any of those or do something like that, because I'll be around if anything happens. Knock on wood, nothing will. But I want them to at least learn about that. Some of the kids that are like right into the medical side of things are going to really dig into it and love it. So someone's going to touch for everybody, hopefully.
Are you by yourself with the kids out here? Do you have
Yep.
anybody else helping you?
No, I'm by myself out here.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes ed tech, if there's somebody that has an ed tech with them, but
Yeah.
no, I'm out here by myself, so hopefully I won't lose any.
And I think that's some of the things that we're figuring out as we go along. You
Yep.
mentioned the other day, oh, we need to have a med kit out here. You know, just we're learning things as we
Yeah,
go.
I even had one kid over in Dedham yesterday, no, 2 days ago, ask me, back on Friday, he asked me, what are we going to do during hunting season? I was like, I never thought of that, because even though there's no hunting near a school, it doesn't mean somebody's not going to come wandering through the woods. So we get some orange vest for them, things like that. There's a lot of different pieces that we have to figure out.
That's a
to go
great
along.
lesson in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For kids to know when they go in the woods
Oh, yeah.
around here at this
Yep.
time of year. Yeah.
Yep, we're also going to do, I'm not sure when we'll be able to do it, but I want to start a co-op with the university with ticks. I've already got in contact with the person that's ahead of it. They do all those studies you see on the news. So I'd like to eventually do some work where the kids can do some of the study work too. I don't know if we can get somebody from the university, and they have those like drag nets they bring through the woods and stuff, and do a lot of talk about it because they're here. You know, we can't be afraid and just sit inside all the time. So the best thing to do is be educated about them and know about them. So hoping to tie a lot of science in with that stuff too.
How did the first week go, Gil?
Good. There's a lot of talking like this, but it was like a lot of talking of the same thing over. I'm so used to having my own class, either it was fourth grade or sixth grade social studies or math sciences. Like you had that one day where you introduced them all, and then after that you just jumped in. I still have one class that I haven't gone through all the introduction stuff. I have to say just the same thing. I'm not used to that. I feel for the music teachers and PE teachers now for all these years. And I was just like, it's not a big deal. You know, having to say that over and over and over again, and you have that whole week of just like every single class. You just want to jump in after the second day, but you have to make sure they understand everything, especially out here.
Well, and you're so excited and anxious, and in your head, you've been planning this
Oh, yeah.
for months and months and months.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. Ready to jump in.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, looks great.
Yeah. I'm
It does.
excited.
Thank you.
Really
Great
excited.
job.
And this weekend, hauling
Yes.
wood chips.
Yep, Sunday, if anybody has four-wheelers or any way of transporting wood chips down, I've asked all the kids if they have like a four-wheeler with a cart behind it or something like that. So we can start bringing, I tried bringing some of the wood chips down with the tractor here at school, but I calculated it out to be close to 60 hours of me just driving back and forth with the size of the bucket and the amount of wood chips. So if we could have like a
We have
an
a
army.
gator with the bed on the back you could use. I can't drive the trailer to get it here because
Oh,
I can only go straight. I can't back up.
Can't you drive the gator here?
Yeah, just drive the gator here. No, it's at the farm. I'll probably get in
Oh.
trouble doing that. On
Yeah.
No.
If I put something in my hand, it looks like I'm straight.
I'll make a few phone calls.
But I could get it down here, but you can use it. I don't know that I'm going to be around Sunday, but you can use it.
oh, thank you. I'm sure I'll
Where's
find.
Garrett?
I don't know if I want him back in the trailer. I'll find a way to
You
at
have
least.
a
What
trailer?
time are you? I have a trailer. I just
All
can't
right,
drive
we'll
it.
get together then. I'll
Awesome.
get it down here.
I just can't drive the thing. Like I said, I can go,
Drive it,
I can
you
go
can't back
straight.
it up.
I can't back it up. I even practice in the parking lot up here trying to get better at it. It's just scary.
Well, when you stop in the parking lot, you don't need to back it up.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, Sunday, if you can,
What
in the
time?
morning. We're going to do it 9 to 12 here. Then I'm going to take an hour. I have an hour, and then I have to be over in Dedham. I'm going to be doing it in the afternoon and the evening over there. So, if we morning time here.
Find a way and I'll have it here for you.
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
bring it Friday.
Have it whenever you want.
I'll bring it back Monday. One
I'll
gator.
check too. I have access to some stuff, but I gotta make if my stepfather's around.
Awesome.
And we have a 4-wheeler, but no cart. So
Well, maybe some people have carts. We
Wednesday,
can
I
start
might have a cart in the
partnering
shed.
people up.
okay.
Let me look.
All right.
Actually, there's a 4-wheeler at the farm too if I can find a cart.
Yeah, you let me know if you find a cart.
Okay.
Because we can get the 4-wheeler. We just
Because
don't
you
have a
put the
cart.
4-wheeler on the trailer with them.
I'll put a couple horses on there.
The trailer's big enough to go. Yeah, I'll see if we still have. We had a cart out in the shed. I just don't know what happened to it.
You know, I was going to say, I have a big garden cart, but it's one of those that you haul around.
Yeah, we can put some of the more active kids on it.
Well,
Maybe you can burn some
I can
energy.
think of some that will be able to take that all
Yeah.
around for you. Any more questions for Gil?
If you have any questions, you can let me know anytime. I can answer them, let you know what's going on. You're welcome to come join a class if you want to, if you think you can make it across.
Thank you, Gil.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gil.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
Okay, then I think
Awesome. So is he able to broadcast that? I know he had.
Yeah, I think it's all well.
Oh, okay, okay. Didn't know if it was live.
I don't think it's
That wasn't live, what it was.
No, he was gonna
That was good though.
upload
That's
it
great.
in kind of,
Yeah.
so people could see.
Okay, we're all back.
Yep.
All right, that was awesome. I'm excited about that program. So we already did fuel bids, so now we're on to new business.
Yeah.
The bill warrant,
I have that.
okay. Policy review, we've got two different ones.
JK student discipline you'll have included in there. It's one that you already have. The change, if you look, will be that the legislator passed a rule that you can't take recess away for students in grade 5 and under. You can do restorative justice during that time, but you can't just take it.
Okay.
What is restorative justice?
It would be like when you took them in during recess and you talked between the 3 people involved and kind of worked through the different pieces of what was right, what didn't work, what did work, and then what was a solution to try to
Okay.
resolve it in a proactive way.
Okay.
This is your first reading.
Yep, okay.
Everything else is what you already have.
So that's the first
Yep.
policy. Do you want to do this as,
I can do the second one
Both of
too, and then
them?
you can do them together. Yep.
Yep.
So if you look at suspension, it's the same thing. It's a policy you already have. If you look at the second paragraph down, again, same legislature, students in grade 5 or below may not be out of school suspended, with the exception of the Federal Free Guns Act. Everything else is exactly as it is, but that piece was passed in the legislature.
okay, so it's really a change in the
In
age
the
that
age
they're
group,
allowed to
yep.
do that. Okay.
Where do kids go here when they're suspended?
You mean in school?
Yeah.
They would go to the main office typically.
Okay.
Unless we needed to find a different spot if there was a day like that, but then we'd have somebody, either way, somebody's with them.
Okay. So this is our first reading. Any questions right now? Any other questions? We'll have a second reading at our next
Yep.
meeting. Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
A motion to approve first readings for both JK and JKD.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. All right. Okay, we have our reports. First, we have the principal's report. It's pretty far away from you.
we've had a very soon in our year, so we have my report, graded service day. Teachers were busy, they had some time in the classrooms, we had a couple of different presentations, all went well. We had 5 new staff members, 6 new staff members who have been working diligently, doing well. We had our new staff orientation the week before school started. We met with 4 of them and we talked through some different protocols, policies, things like that for their classrooms and great opening. We had Chris Crawford, who is a social worker.
He's a social
And
worker.
talked to us about surviving and gave some insight on that post-pandemic. That's what we want to call it, as far as what's like. So, no, it's been a really good start. Knock on wood, it's been like going away, and I have to find wood just to, so that I'm all set. I have our numbers, our student numbers, as you know, that'll change, but I will update that, next month for you. So, quite a few movements, not as many move outs, typically we have kind of a balance, but, there are quite a few movements, so we'll see what happens, once everything shakes out. Any questions for you?
That's Fifth grade looks pretty large.
Yeah, fourth grade is pretty large, you know, I wouldn't say large, but different than what we used to, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's grown.
But teachers are working hard, they're working on their routines, they're